Hey everyone, welcome back to Scenes. In today's video, we'll be discussing transportation in human beings from the chapter Life Processes. In your part 1 book, it starts from your page number 71. Okay. So, let's start with the part Transportation in Human Beings. How does transportation occur in our body? Or what do we mean by transportation in our body? Our body needs oxygen, it discards carbon dioxide, it absorbs nutrients. Each and every cell of our body is in need of all these things like oxygen, nutrients, certain salts. So how do you think each and every cell, each and every organ, each and every part of your body gets it? So obviously there is a mechanism, there is a way of transporting each and everything to each and every cell without causing any issue or without any hindrance. So here the main thing which helps in transportation of our, transportation of substances inside our body is done by blood. Blood alone is not at all capable of doing such thing. It's just in liquid form and hence it is actually, aiding a lot in transportation. But blood alone is not at all helpful for transportation. Instead, we need the entire system in which blood is actually playing a role to actually undergo transportation, and that entire system is nothing but circulatory system of our body or circulation. Circulatory system of our body comprises of 3 main components: heart, blood vessels, and of course what we have spoken about, blood. Let's start with blood and then let's come to blood vessels and heart, since we already have established that blood is the most important part for transportation inside our body. So as we know, blood is in fluid form. Blood is actually a type of tissue which we call as connective tissue. It helps in connecting different parts of our body. That means that is through this transportation itself. So blood is a fluid connective tissue. It helps in transportation such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste, salt, etc., etc. There are some even hormones, and also all these things are transported with the help of blood itself. Now, blood is made up of 3 main components, that is RBC, WBC and platelets. So RBC is nothing but red blood corpuscles, WBC is white blood corpuscles, and platelets, they are nothing but very tiny bits of proteins which are present in our blood. All these are embedded in plasma as the matrix. So plasma is the liquid portion which is holding RBC, WBC and platelets. As you can see here, red blood corpuscles, that means this is red in color. So this is the one which is actually having the pigment hemoglobin, which is responsible for the red color of our blood. So if you remove RBC, your blood is not at all red in color, it will be colorless. So RBC here is not only giving the color to your blood, but it is also helping in transportation. And that transportation has to be of oxygen. RBC can hold oxygen, and as it is traveling inside our body, as it is passing through each and every cell, it actually delivers oxygen, like how our transportation or how our online services work, door-to-door service. They'll give your parcels or your goods to your door and they'll leave, right? Just like that, they are going to come. These RBCs, as they're passing through your body, each and every cell, they stop at each and every cell, and whatever oxygen they are carrying, they will provide it, and whatever carbon dioxide is released by each and every cell, it's like an garbage for the cells. The garbage which is produced there is, among them, one is carbon dioxide, which is of waste. So that is collected by RBC. Not only RBC, the entire blood here, but RBC is the main carrier of oxygen. And that is how, transportation is carrying out with the cells. Now talking about platelets, see here, platelets is again one important part of your blood. It helps in clotting of your blood. That means whenever you get a wound, you will see that it will be bleeding only for a certain time. It depends upon the size of your wound as well. So after a certain time, you will see that the blood will start to clot. And that is because of platelets. So see here, if blood is actually flowing out of your body through a wound or any other reason, any other injury, so it will affect the blood flow inside your body. The pressure of blood inside your body will be affected. Hence, to avoid that effect, platelets will come in action and spontaneously they'll start to close the wound by clotting the blood. That is the main reason, that is the main function of platelets. Now regarding WBC, WBC is for your immune system. It will strengthen your immune system. They are like soldiers sitting inside your body, waiting for a foreigner or a foreign germ to enter your body and kill it. So this is mainly for, this mainly works for the, autoimmune system. Your immune system inside your body is everything but WBC, which I have already studied in your 9th standard. Now, coming back to the previous ones, heart and blood vessels. Let's talk about blood vessels first and then let's go to the heart. So blood vessels are nothing but, I love to call it as pipes. The pipes inside our body or pipelines. Okay, so blood vessels here are of 3 types: arteries, veins and capillaries. Okay, so see, like you are having, as you're studying in SS and all, you are having highways, you're having different types of roadways, you are having one way, the one which is coming to the city, the one which is going out of the city. Just like that, your body is also specified for, each blood vessel here is having its own duty. Like for example, arteries will take blood from heart to the body. Okay, it's one way, from body to heart will never happen in arteries. So arteries' job is to carry blood from heart to the body, whereas veins, body to heart. This is the opposite of the artery. Artery will go from heart to body, the blood will go from heart towards the body, whereas for veins, it will move from body to heart. And the last one, capillaries, they are very, very, very narrow, very narrow blood vessels through which they actually supply blood and all the necessary essentials to each and every cell of your body. So those tiny cells inside your body, it's difficult to supply blood to them through arteries and veins since they are thicker and our cells are very, very tiny compared to them. So in order to help here, the blood vessels are getting narrower and narrower in the form of capillaries. So this capillaries will help in providing all the necessary essentials to the cells and also collecting the waste from those particular cells. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. Now coming to your heart. So heart is a pumping organ. See this blood, liquid, everything, it has to move. It is not a living thing and it does not have a brain of itself to move on its own. So how will it move inside those pipelines, where it has to go? It does not have a brain of itself to decide those things. And here to help it, we have the heart, the pumping organ. So, we normally make that voice, right? Duck, duck, of your heart. So how does it happen here? It is because of the pumping. The force of the pumping of your heart will cause that particular the sound of the heart pumping. Okay, so this is the pumping organ. When the heart pumps, that is when the blood will flow inside your body. If the pumping stops, blood flow will stop and hence there will be no circulation going on, which will be an indication that the person is dead. So heart is what keeps a person's life going. So that's just the introduction for all the components of circulatory system. Now other than this, there is one more thing which you need to know about, that is lymph. What is lymph now? Lymph is nothing but a colorless blood. Colorless blood, as I said before, our blood consists of WBC, platelets as well as RBC. So since I said this one is colorless, I told you before that RBC is the one which gives the red color to your blood. So blood minus RBC with certain proteins, not all the proteins, certain amount of proteins and plasma. If you subtract them from blood, you are going to end up with lymph. This is a very good equation for me to understand what is lymph, or to remember what is lymph. Lymph is a colorless blood which which is actually separated, or from which if you separate RBC along with certain plasmas and protein, you are going to end up with nothing but lymph. And regarding lymph, all I can tell you is, see, it's having its own circulatory system inside our body. It will actually help in transportation of absorbed fat. Okay, so it mainly travels through nodes and all. So that's it for this particular session. Okay, now talking about the human circulatory system in detail. So how does a human circulatory system work, or what is the process happening in circulatory system? We are going to see that in detail. Okay, so our human circulatory system is a closed type. So as you can see here, I have given you three things, that is closed type, systemic circulation and double circulation. So I am going to tell you each and everything. The first one is closed type. So our circulatory system is a closed type circulation. That means whatever blood is flowing, it flows in between heart and blood vessels. Okay, so heart and blood vessels are the only one which is helping the blood to flow. Outside heart and blood vessel, you are not going to see even a drop flowing. So if all the blood is enclosed within heart and blood vessels itself. Okay, it's like your complete pipeline or water tank pipelines. Okay, you are not going to see a drop falling here and there unless there is a crack in the pipe or in the tank. So that is how closed type works. So our is a closed type. So all the blood is flowing only in the circulatory system. Outside the circulatory system, not a single drop will flow unless and until there is an injury happening. Next one is systemic circulation. Systemic circulation now. See here, our body, in our circulatory system, we have two types of blood. One is deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood. So deoxygenated, oxygenated, since you can see the name oxygen present in that, and as you know, oxygen is the main gas which helps in survival of us. So oxygenated blood is the one which contains oxygen. Deoxygenated blood is the one which does not contain oxygen, but instead of oxygen they have carbon dioxide. So now, what is the role of these two bloods in systemic circulation? Our circulatory system is designed in such a way that deoxygenated and oxygenated blood flow in separate systems. They are not mixed together. They never mix together in a normal person. So deoxygenated flows in a separate system, a separate part of your, separate section of your circulatory system, whereas oxygenated blood will circulate in once again in a separate part of your circulatory system. So they never mixes. We are keeping it systematically separate. So that is what I have to tell you in systemic circulation. Coming to the next one, double circulation. Human circulatory system is a double circulatory system. So double circulation, why do we call it as double circulation? Two circulation happens here. One circulation is between heart and the lungs. Other one is between heart and the body. So what happens between heart and lungs? Whatever deoxygenated blood comes to the heart, it is sent to the lungs. Now what lungs do is, lungs, since whatever oxygen we are breathing in, it goes to the lungs, right? That oxygen is given to the deoxygenated blood, which the heart has given to the lungs. And whatever carbon dioxide the deoxygenated blood is having, it will be taken by the lungs. So it is like exchange of gases happening. Deoxygenated blood which comes to the lungs will give carbon dioxide and take oxygen from the lungs, and this deoxygenated blood will become oxygenated, and this oxygenated blood will go back to the heart, to the other side of the heart, and then this heart will send it to the body. After sending to the body, what the body cells will do is, they will absorb the oxygen from the blood, and whatever carbon dioxide they are having, they will give it to the blood. Once again, the oxygenated blood will become deoxygenated. So that again goes to the heart for purification. Again, through the lungs, the same procedure, again the same. This cycle keeps on going since before your birth, since you are a fetus inside the mother's womb. So till your death, this process will be going on, and this is what is keeping you alive. Okay, that's about double circulation. Now let's try to understand our personal circulatory, or how does our circulatory system works. Okay, what happens in our circulatory system. So before that, let me explain you your heart, what are present in your heart and what is absent in your heart and all. So as you can see, this is our heart, slightly V in shape, slightly bent. This part towards my left side, whatever part I am having here, they are the right ones. And towards my towards my right hand, whatever is present, that is the left side. Left side, right side. So when drawing a heart, remember that you are actually going in the opposite manner. So your right will be the left for the heart, and your left will be the right for the heart. As you can see here, we have got 4 chambers, 2 atriums, 2 ventricles. Okay. So upper ones are atriums and the lower ones are ventricles. On the right side we have got right, on the left side we have got left. Now as you can see here in the center, you have got this dividing wall, septum. If you remember, just a while back I have told you in systemic circulation that our circulatory system will keep the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood separately. So the right part of your heart will receive the deoxygenated blood, whereas the left part of your heart will receive the oxygenated blood. So can you see here, the right part is colored blue. So this blue indicates deoxygenated blood, and this color will indicate oxygenated blood. Okay. So now, other than that, can you see at the top over here, we have got those, roadways, the pipelines. Okay. So we are going to talk about that. Okay. So we'll start from the right part. As you can see here, vena cava from lower body, vena cava from upper body. So what are these vena cavas now? Vena cava is nothing but the larger veins. The bigger veins are called vena cava. We have got 2. That is the upper one and the lower one. This vena cava or vein, as I told you before, vein brings blood from body to the heart. So they will be bringing the deoxygenated blood from the upper body, and this one will be bringing from the lower body. And directly it is going to your right atrium. Okay. Now, next one. Can you see this Y1? This Y is nothing but your pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery, that means, see here, whenever the word pulmonary comes, it is associated with lungs. Pulmonary artery, that means it is artery. Artery takes blood from heart to other part. From heart, it is taking to pulmonary, lungs. From heart, the blood is going to your lungs. Then here you can see pulmonary veins. That means it is coming, the blood is coming from lungs to your heart. Okay. Then the other one what we need to see is here aorta, the biggest artery or the largest artery. So this artery is nothing but it is taking the oxygenated blood to the other parts of your body, to all the for the distribution purpose. Now let us see what actually happens here. How does the circulatory system works. So it's just a rough diagram to explain you how does the circulation works inside our body. Okay. So I have drawn here just rough sketch of the outer section of the heart. This is my right part of the heart. This is my left part. Right auricle, right ventricle, left auricle and left ventricle. Can you see this wall? This is a septum which is separating the oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood. This is the oxygenated blood. This is the deoxygenated blood. That is the reason why I have written here with blue and here with red. Now, as I told you before, vena cavas will bring the blood from the body, upper and lower body to the right section of your heart. Okay. Now, here comes your, deoxygenated blood from the body to your right auricle. Now see here the pumping is happening. So when it is relaxing, the heart after pumping, it is relaxing. So when it is relaxing, it is like you are sucking your juice through your straw. Juice will fill inside your mouth. Just like this is relaxing, blood which is coming through your body from the vena cava, this will enter easily to your right auricle. After entering here, now it won't directly just go into the vein. This is not like a complete opening. Here you are having something. Here you are having a kind of, a mechanism, this part. A mechanism to not allow, easily the blood flow. This part is known as valve. So what is this valve now? So this part, okay, if I see it like this, it is like something, like wall-like or division, depending upon what kind of valve it is, try or die. Okay, so this is like it will open only on pushing and on pulling it won't. So when this is present here, after the filling of this auricle, okay, the next thing what happens is because of the pressure of blood here, this valve will open and the blood will enter into your right ventricle. After entering, this valve will close and it won't open by pushing from this side. It will open only by pushing from the other side. So blood will fill in the right ventricle. So this happens when the heart is relaxing. So next thing, what the heart is pumping. The heart is going to constrict. When you are constricting a water filled balloon or any sponge or anything, the liquid is going to ooze out. Same thing happens here. The blood is going to ooze out, but not like from all the direction. As I said, it is a closed type. So it is going to ooze out through your pulmonary artery. So can you see here? Right auricle, right ventricle, then going to your pulmonary artery. See here, this is the pulmonary artery. This pulmonary artery is taking your blood, deoxygenated blood, to your lungs. Okay. Now, as I said, your lungs are nothing but pulmonary, right? So, after going to the lungs, what the lungs will do is, it will give oxygen to the blood and take carbon dioxide from the blood. That is the carbon dioxide which will be exhaling out through respiration. Okay. Now, after getting oxygen, that particular blood will be sent back. The lungs will send back through pulmonary veins to the left part. After entering the left part, that is your left auricle or the atrium. So what happens here is, again the same thing, same procedure going on, the valve here. So because of the valve, when this is full, through the valve, the blood will enter in the ventricle, and after entering, the second time when it's squeezing, when the heart is pumping, what happens is the blood will travel through this large artery, that is aorta, and go to each and every part of your, that means from this outer, what happens is as it is going, it goes on branching. Okay, branching to supply blood to different parts of your body, for the upper part of your body, for the lower part of your body. So it will go on dividing and it will start to get narrower and narrower like a tree branch. As you can see, the center one is a thicker one. As you go up, it will start branching and further it will be branching. Just like that, it will go on branching to supply blood to each and every cell, each and every organ, each and every part of your body. And that is how the oxygenated blood will reach each and every part of your body, and then after reaching, it is going to convert into deoxygenated blood, and that is again going to come through vena cavas to the right part, again to the lungs, again purified, coming to the left part, again to the body, and again. So this goes on. So as I said, this is systemic. The right part will receive the deoxygenated, whereas the left part will receive the oxygenated blood. Okay, so that's about your circulatory system in human beings. If you have got any doubt or any part which was not at all clear to you, you can just leave a comment at the bottom and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.